brought to you by Devil Dogs Brew and Beans, where you can get your Gators Breakdown private label coffee. Many flavors and options available at devildogsbrewandbeans.com/Gators Breakdown. I think we got plenty to talk about. What are we? We are a week away from kickoff, getting together with Gators Breakdown Plus members. Week out till kickoff. So of course, we knew we knew we could talk Utah a little bit a week away. And then, hey, I mean, we got plenty to talk about. Swamp Kings, we can go into that if you guys want to go into that. I haven't. I had the interview with Tate Casey. You guys can check that out. If I know if you haven't watched it yet, you probably haven't listened to the interview, listened or watched the interview with Tate. So get any spoilers, but that we got Swamp Kings to talk about. Tate's thoughts, my thoughts. I've shared them in here on the Discord a little bit, but didn't necessarily really share them in the episode. So we can dive into that a little bit. With the game a week away, of course, whatever storylines football-wise you guys want to talk about. I know the last couple of articles I put up on gatorsbreakdown.com, if you guys were checking that out, ESPN, their S&P Plus, Bill Connolly's rankings. He has Florida 23rd, a bit higher than, or a lot higher than a lot of other people out there, and the other rankings out there. And the opposing coaches, if you guys want to talk about a little bit of opponents, I know we'll probably talk Utah with that game of being a week away, but the opposing coaches episode that Will and I had earlier this week, I think we could, dive into that and what your guys' thoughts were on some of the coaches' thoughts on Florida's opponents this year. So, and there's no telling. We always go in a unforeseen angle sometimes. So. But how you guys feeling a week away? Yeah. A little more antsy, a little more confident, not as confident. I've even seen that the last couple of days of people going and watching highlights or something and saying, well, I don't know if I feel as good as I did last week or 2 weeks ago or, that. But a week away, I think as we record this, Gators will be kicking off in about 45 minutes from a week from now. So, it's I know I'm ready. I'm tired of talking season. I'm ready to see some results.
Oh no, I'm pretty fired up, Dave. I mean, I go back and forth each day of how high I am on the Gators. One day I feel good, and the next day it's like I'm nervous. But I'm pretty fired up that that we're playing next week.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely just ready to see them kind of get it started. Just want to see how it's going to look.
I think that's part of it too. Is just there's, I've said the element of surprise for the game itself for Utah and Florida, but guys, I think that element of surprise is there for us as a fan base too, right? I mean, we want to know how Graham
absolutely.
We want to know how Graham Mertz is going to look and how different it is from Wisconsin. How these freshmen will be involved, how good Johnson and ETN can possibly be. Mazuka coming in as a transfer, he won't be as good as Osiris Torrance, but he was lauded as a really good interior offensive lineman. Does he step in right away? And Florida's running behind him for big chunk yardage. And I mean, I don't even get into specifics for defense. I think we're just all looking as a whole, that side of the ball. Man, I don't care if Cam Rising plays. I don't care if he doesn't play. I mean, look, Florida found ways to lose to Vanderbilt's quarterback last year, struggle against USF. I mean, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback for me for Utah next week. If we go and see a good defensive performance, we all know what that will look like. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Now, maybe down the road it will, but as next Thursday, I want to see what this defense looks like as a whole. I don't care who the quarterback is for Utah. I think we'll be able to glean something from it just because of even the struggles we've seen the last couple of years. It wasn't matter who was behind center. Florida's defense struggled. And I think we can take solace if it is a second-string quarterback, a third-string quarterback for Utah, if the defense goes out there and does their job. You guys have heard me say it many a times. You don't get credit for doing the things you're supposed to do. That doesn't happen enough. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to giving that Florida defense some credit, no matter the quarterback situation for Utah.
This could be a crazy take, but I think we look like the 2012 team offensively and the 2015 team defensively.
Ooh, 2015. That's a really good defense.
What are we gonna feel like if we win this game 10-7 as Gator fans? Are we gonna be livid in here? You know,
man, that is crossed my
win's
mind.
a win.
Hey, and as Armani was saying, hey, that's a lot like 2012. That is a lot like 2015. If you go out there and win some 10-7 games, but absolutely, I'll take it. I don't care. Let this team grow as the season goes on. Hopefully, is what that would mean. But man, I'll take a 3-0 win next week. Just get me a dub to feel pretty good about. If people want to nitpick it, go right ahead. But I just want Florida to be 1-0 next week. I don't really care. Now I'll come on the podcast and we'll ask all the questions in the world that we want to ask of, why did you only score 3 points, 10 points, 13 points, or whatever. Don't get me wrong. I think Utah's defense is still pretty good anyway. I will probably give them credit first, but then we will still have the question of where's this offense at. But, of course, we got to see what it looks like and all that. I mean, could be turnovers involved. Florida could drive down the field. They could be holding on to the ball for 8-9 minutes of drive. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go into it. But, yeah, it's on the surface, if we get a low-scoring game, but the defense keeps Utah low-scoring as well, I'll still feel pretty good about it.
I think you should watch a lot of tape on the 49ers because I think that's what it'll look like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think will look like.
Dave, I'm kind of gotten a headache, man. I was in a Twitter space where 2 Utah fans said they're going to win by 21 with a third-string quarterback.
Win by 21, man.
Yeah, my head hurts, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to. I don't go back to a year before to kind of come up with results too much. But if you're going to go that far with proclamations, I mean, I think we can say, all right, did you forget what happened last year? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know the seasons went 2 different directions after that, but to feel that confident after what happened last year, more power to them.
Wouldn't even entertain that.
No, yeah.
Well, it's like, I get being confident in your team
Yes.
and anything can happen in college football, but like if I had a third-string quarterback and one of my main tight ends probably wasn't going to play and the odds were going down to like -5, -4.5, I wouldn't be saying, oh, yeah, I'm confident and we're going to win by 21. I still could win, but it's like I just don't – unless there's major turnovers in that game, I don't see anybody winning by 21.
I'm going to guarantee right now that they will not win by 21. I'm putting it on live on Gators Breakdown right now. Utah will not win that game by 3 touchdowns.
They barely scored 21 last season.
With their starting quarterback, who was
that was a tale of 2 halves for their offense. I mean, they lit us up in the second half, but just could not cross the goal line.
didn't they fumble at the goal line?
I think the first drive, didn't they get stopped at the goal line? It was 4th down, first drive of the second half. I think they got stuffed.
They fumbled.
Yeah, I think it was 4th down either way. I think it was stuffed and they fumbled on the same play. You're right. And then, of course, the game-ending interception as well. So, I mean, they scored a touchdown in the second half, or maybe 2 touchdowns in the second half, I believe. So, I mean, I think it was 4 drives, and they drove down the field each and every one of them. And I think there were 2 out of 4, 2 touchdowns, and then the fumble, and then the game-ending interception as well. So.
Oh, yeah, that guy also said our D-line was soft. And I was like, oh, my God, man. Get this guy off of here.
Like I said,
their offensive line is decent, but it's like our defensive line got better. Like, it's better.
Here's my thing is that they're saying that without even knowing what they're talking about. Like, and I'm sure they're probably going and looking at last year's defensive line and saying that. I mean, we don't even know what this defensive line is going. I mean, we have confidence in it, but there's some new faces on there. I mean, who are they to know that the defensive line is soft? Now, that may be how it ends up, but you can't go into this game and say, hey, your defensive line is soft. You don't know that.
That's a fan that doesn't know what he's talking about, and all he's doing is just trying to piss you off.
I know. It just had me laughing, man. I just thought it was funny. I mean, like, just the confidence. It's like I get it. Like I said, you're confident in your team, but just what's been happening lately with like the injuries and all that. I couldn't find myself to be that confident if I was a Utah fan playing Florida right now.
Yeah, I jumped in that space for a little bit with you, Dave, but I had to get out of there. There was too many crazy takes from that Utah guy that you were referring to.
It was bad, man.
Guys, what do you think about the line shift? I saw that talked about recently, but down to 4.5 in a lot of places now, when it opened up around 9.5, 8.5 in some places. I mean,
now that more like on threes, double freshmen,
right,
all SEC.
Yeah, like I don't think it necessarily means Vegas knows Rising isn't going to play, but I think it could be we've been asking ourselves the questions all offseason, but now it's been ramped up around various radio and podcasts throughout the last couple of weeks. And, now we get to hear from the coaches, and they're even saying they don't really know and all that kind of stuff. And I can see where, okay, well, maybe if Rising doesn't play, he's not 100%, but I think that makes the game closer. So it could just mean Vegas is just getting a whole lot of heavy Florida money, and the line shifts that way.
It went back up a little bit today.
Okay.
It was at like plus 170 for us to win yesterday, and now it's like plus 180, depending on where you go. I think it moved like half a point on the line.
Yeah, so that makes me think it might just be more money shifts than them knowing about Rising in Vegas. But as we get closer to kickoff,
I think Austin Armstrong is preparing for all three of those quarterbacks.
Well, if you listen to Cam Rising today, I believe he had an interview saying the game plan doesn't change no matter who's at quarterback. So
that's always the case.
Exactly. Coach speak, player speak. That is.
They're not going to know if he's going to play the game until like 10 minutes before the game, Dave. Come on now.
Makes you wonder how. Yeah, I mean, we've discussed it before. Is it gamesmanship? Do they really not know? There's a lot of talk around it.
We should have been like, man, I don't know if Jack Miller or Matt Brown or Hurts is going to play. We just don't know. We're going to have to wait.
Well, that's what we should do.
Or the new walk-on.
I mean, there's injury concerns around Jack Miller. We should just start the rumor that those are lies and he's actually going to be the starter.
Yeah, there you go. We're actually dipping back in the transfer portal to find another quarterback before the game, Dave.
Are you guys? Go ahead, Dave.
No, you fine. Go ahead.
Are you guys feeling more confident now that just as everybody in this chat, are y'all feeling more confident now that the lines went down, and y'all feeling more confident about us winning now, or?
Personally, for me, the line,
absolutely.
Yeah.
If Rising is out or limited, then yeah. I mean, I'm definitely more confident they don't have a quarterback at 100%.
I'm confident just because of Cam Rising. And even if Cam Rising was to play, he's not going to be 100%. I feel the only thing that I kind of look at now is obviously Graham Mertz. I'm worried at some points he could go back to how he was playing at Wisconsin, turning the football over and, not playing against your own team. But at the same time, I mean, I just don't think that he's going to be as bad as he was at Wisconsin, though, either. Especially the way that Shane Matthews has been talking about him, too.
Yeah, Dave, going to your point there, it's just what Graham Mertz do we get? And, when it would fall apart at Wisconsin, it would fall apart. And this is not an easy place to play. That is one thing. I mean, they have not lost in a non-COVID season since 2018, I think is the stat, right? I believe. September of 2018, so the beginning of that season. I'll try and look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Their last loss, I believe, was to USC in 2020. So as I said, non-COVID year when they got the full crowd and the raucous crowd. They are a tough team to beat at home. But I remember there was some weird trend going into last year's game where they didn't lose with these certain parameters, and then of course Florida beat them. So maybe that's just one more notch that Florida will be able to say, well, okay, never mind, we got you. We can come in here and and beat you in your house. You know, these Pac-12 teams may not be able to do it, but we can.
Hey, records were made to be broken, Dave.
I have to go back and find my notes. There was some weird they haven't lost in something. I forget what it was.
I mean, that's the biggest concern is how do we handle the atmosphere or
Yeah.
the environment, you know, with the altitude. I mean, none of these kids have ever probably played at 5,000 feet. So I don't know how big of a factor that is, but I imagine it plays some sort of factor.
But so we talked about that today. Will it be a factor? Yes. Would it be a reason I say Florida loses the game? No. That I guess that's probably where I go with that. You find hard pressed for me to say, oh well, Florida lost that game, you know, because of altitude. I can't bring myself to say that.
Damn that altitude, man.
But going back to the other point, you know, that I was making earlier, this is a young team in a lot of places, and I know we're all excited to see the freshmen, but I mean, this is their first big game. You know, they don't get the friendly confines of the swamp. You know, they gotta. You know, we're counting on these freshmen when communication is going to be really, really key. And this is their first game out there, and they're lining up at wideout, and Mertz is checking and changing the play. They've never been in that situation before. And we're putting a lot on these guys to be ready now. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure the staff is prepared for this. You know, they know these guys are freshmen. They know they're going to be relying on freshmen. And I know these first set of plays are going to, be scripted to all your heart's content. But as the game goes on, and if you're, late third quarter, late fourth quarter, and it's a do or die third down, fourth down, and the game is on the line, these freshmen have not been anywhere near that. And there's some young guys, younger guys who, just haven't been in that situation too many times. So, there's a lot of parameters of it's not just a tough place to play. Florida's a young team going into a tough place to play. This has been a preview of a Gators Breakdown Plus members chat. You can take part in chats like these by joining Gators Breakdown Plus starting at $3 a month. Link is in the description, and you get access to all these features. You get these extra episodes. You get access to the Discord server where you get to have text chats. It takes part in chats like these as well. Hey, another big bonus, ad-free Gators Breakdown episodes, Q&As, giveaways, custom shout-outs, all that at Gators Breakdown Plus. Link is in the description. Come join us.